Whoa! So today we're going to be making Lechon Flakes Scallion Pancakes. So we're going to kind of put a twist on your traditional scallion pancakes by stuffing them with Zubuchon Lechon Flakes, which we have over here. And then we're going to make a kind of guava dipping sauce using their guava jelly. Obviously, Zubuchon is famous for their lechon. What not a lot of people know is that they have a great retail line. Lots of great frozen lechon products, but also things like this in jars, like their guava jelly. They have mangosteen jam, things like that. Today we're using the guava jelly in our recipe. So we're just gonna use this as the base of our sauce, add some more flavors, and serve them up with the pancakes. To start, we just have some ingredients here. I'll start with the garlic. Use 1 clove of garlic. Ours are kind of small, so we're using 2 today. If you don't mind like a chunkier sauce, you could mince these up or grate them. I just crush them because I'm gonna strain out the sauce. I prefer something a little bit smoother to eat with the pancakes, so I'm just gonna crush these. And then for the ginger, we just have like a small nub here. I'll just slice it thinly. And then we have red chilies here. We're using 2. If you didn't want this to be spicy, you could omit this as well. I'm just gonna cut them in half lengthwise to bring out the seeds. So now we have all our ingredients. It's super easy. We're just gonna toss everything into the pot. So I'll start with the guava jelly. Wow, oh my god, I'm strong. So we'll start with 1 jar of the guava jelly, some water, tablespoon of soy sauce, and then the whole aromatics that we have. So I'll just pop in the garlic, the ginger, and the red chili. We're just gonna stir it until it's all combined, and you're just gonna let it come up to a boil really slowly, just so that the aromatics have time to infuse in the guava jelly and the water and the soy sauce. And then when it comes to a boil, we're gonna let it go for maybe 2 to 3 minutes until it's slightly thickened, and then we can turn the heat off. So now it's roughly been at a boil for about 4 to 5 minutes. You can see it's kind of slightly thickened, and it will thicken more as it cools. And all I'm gonna do is strain it and let it cool while we make everything else. The next step before we start making the dough for our scallion pancakes, we're gonna fry off the lechon flakes. So these lechon flakes come in this box. All you have to do is defrost them, then add them to a frying pan and crisp them up. So that's what we're gonna do now. Then when they're fully cooked, we'll add them into our pancakes later on. And so while those are frying, we'll get our scallions ready. Cut them into thin rounds. You don't want them too big or too chunky here because we are rolling them into pancakes. Just small, manageable pieces, about a cup of the white and light green parts. The last thing we have to do is make the butter and sesame oil mixture that we're gonna brush on the scallion pancake dough before we roll it. This just adds flavor, and adding butter in between the layers makes the dough flaky, and it will, It will help the flakiness of our final product. So here I just have a half a cup of softened butter, a couple tablespoons of sesame oil, and some salt. So you're just gonna kind of mash this together until it's combined. So I'll just set our butter mixture aside and our scallions aside, and we'll just finish this. Then when it's finished cooking, we can put it in a bowl and let it cool while we make our dough. If you were serving this alone, I would take it even crispier, but because we're gonna roll these up into pancakes, I want them to still be kind of malleable. So I'm gonna change them. I'm gonna transfer them into a bowl and let them cool. So now we're gonna move on to the dough. Here I just have 4 cups of regular all-purpose flour. We're gonna add hot water, so not boiling, but just heated. Well, actually boiling, then turned off, and then we're gonna add it to here. So we just need 2 cups. And then you're just gonna stir in the water. You're just gonna carefully hydrate all the flour and mix this together. And be very careful because the water is super, super hot. Okay, so it's starting to come together into a shaggy dough. And when it's cool enough to handle, you can turn it out onto a floured surface and knead it into a ball. You just want to knead it until it's relatively smooth and together. You can see that there's not a lot of like dry spots. And it is relatively sticky because the water we used is warm. So just keep dusting as you go to prevent it from sticking. Then you're just gonna leave this on the side to rest for about 30 minutes covered, and then we'll be ready to form our scallion pancakes. So this recipe makes about 8 scallion pancakes. So I'm gonna divide this into 8 equal pieces. So we're gonna take each piece and roll it into a log. The reason we do this is that we're gonna flatten the log. That's what we're gonna brush, roll, and then remake into like circular pancakes. So you're gonna dust your surface with flour a bit, but not too much because then it kind of removes the traction that the dough will have with your surface. So we're gonna roll it into a log about 18 inches, and then we're gonna flatten the log this way, just so that you have like a flat surface to work with, and this will also create some more length. And then take your sesame and butter mixture and brush the piece of dough all over. We're gonna take some scallions, lay them across. And while you do this, stuff will fall out. Like, don't be frustrated if like it feels like things aren't coming together. It is messy, but it's worth it. And then we'll do the same with the Lechon Flakes. Then once you have your kind of log situation, you're gonna roll it up from one end to the other. So as you see, stuff fell out. That's no big deal. That's really what's gonna happen. And then you have this kind of cinnamon bun-esque shape. And then as you see, you've created all these layers. Now we're gonna flatten it, and then this is what will become our kind of large circular pancake. So I've flattened it into like a 4-inch disc, and here I have a tray. I'll just set it aside and again cover it while I make some more. We've formed and rolled all 8 of our pancakes. So we just put them on this flour tray and covered them with a dish towel just to keep them from drying out. As you can see, some of the Lechon Flakes and the scallions will really make their way to like the outside, and again, as I described, that's why we don't cook the Lechon Flakes until they're super duper crispy, because as the pancake cooks, we'll get some more crisping of the outer edges and the outside of these pancakes. And here we have some of the leftover sesame butter, and I'm just gonna brush our pan with that, just a thin layer. Once our pan is hot, we're gonna lay our pancake down, and then we're gonna cover it just to let it steam a little while it crisps on the bottom. Because these are thicker scallion pancakes, we do this so that it cooks all the way through. So we're gonna cook these slowly, right? Because we don't want it to burn before it cooks all the way through. So patience is a virtue, but I already want to flip it. There. Then we're just gonna cook it the other way uncovered. See, and even though you steamed it, it still retains that like crispiness because we're not steaming it with water. Our scallion pancakes are ready. I'm just gonna cut them and serve them up. I like to cut these into 4. You can serve them whole, whatever floats your boat. Then we'll just plate them up. And then we'll just go off camera and get our sauce. As you can see, as it's sitting, it gets much thicker. We'll just pour some of that into our bowl. And Here are our scallion pancakes with Zubuchon Lechon Flakes and our guava sauce. As you can see, they're nicely browned, they're crisp, and all the lechon that made its way kind of to the outside has gotten really nice and crispy and brown. So what you're looking for is that it's just cooked all the way through. You can see the scallions and the lechon, and it looks like this. So if you want to make this recipe, you can find the lechon flakes and the guava jelly in any of the Zubuchon stores. We'll put a link down below where all of those are. Thanks for watching, and we hope you make this at home. Please subscribe.